This podcast is part of the Soul Zone Network.
Hello, and welcome to the Butterfly Connection.
Connecting your soul to source with Molly Rahe-Randall and Sara Courtney.
We are all connected, and we are not alone. What if you could rebirth your soul, gain movement in your life, and reconnect with your authentic self?
Join us each week as we connect with Source to answer the burning questions that lie deep within us and gain clarity and wisdom to soar to our greatest potential.
It's time to fly.
This is BK18, Growing Our Belief System. Hello, it's Molly and Sara.
Hi, everyone.
I hope you have had a fantastic week thus far, and thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Our topic for today is all about our belief systems, how our belief systems can be helpful to us in our soul growth, how they can become a hindrance. And Sara and I are just going to talk about our views on belief systems from childhood to adulthood and how we can potentially shift our belief systems to work for us. So let's begin.
Yes, with belief systems, I think the very first thing to ask is, where do they come from? How do we create our own belief systems? Now, all of us grow up in an environment when we're children where we're surrounded by friends and family that model whatever they have learned. And because we're in that environment, we tend to follow along with that because we're young and we haven't yet discovered our own beliefs. So we kind of latch on to those ideas. And then we go to a public school where there are a whole other set of belief systems. People that we encounter, teachers, other classmates. So really, from the get-go, we're in a place where everything is surrounding us, and we have those things as our models to begin building a belief system.
Yes, I completely see what you're saying, Sara. I want to go a little bit deeper about belief systems. If you really think about it, our souls already come into this world with this inner knowing and inner belief of all of the knowledge that we have learned in past lifetimes. And like Sara says, it can be really easy to be influenced by other belief systems that we're surrounded by as children. And I think many times, even when we're younger, if we're in an environment where we're allowed to really be free thinkers, that's a little bit different than if you're in an environment where you're forced to believe in the way that the adults are believing. And this is a really great discussion. It's a discussion that I think is a great thing to openly have with others. There really is no right or wrong to a belief system. The only time I think that it can be a really big hindrance, though, is if it's not sitting right in our soul and we adapt a belief system because we're trying to fit into society or trying to fit into a group of people. And if it's not sitting well within our soul, it can be a hindrance to us. So really, regardless of how you're thinking and feeling and believing, you want to always make sure that you're honoring what feels to be true to you. Because what feels to be true to you is not necessarily what is true to someone else that is in your life.
Yes. And I know in my own experience, belief systems for me, I just always trusted them. And I always felt like, well, if this is what's presented with, then this must be what's out there. And for my own soul growth and my own learning experiences, what I have found as an adult is that just because somebody else whom you might love and trust and grow with says that something is one specific way does not mean that you have to take that on as your own. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned. I had to come to an impasse where, like Molly was saying, that you just feel like it doesn't quite sit well inside your heart and inside your soul. And I guess that's why they call it soul searching, because you really have to dig deep, deep down into yourself and start to make your own decisions about what you feel is right and not right to you. And that's like the most important part, to you, because it isn't about everybody else, and it isn't about what is kosher or what is appropriate or what is PC. It's really about you being true to yourself. And a belief system is one of the biggest pieces of that being true.
Yes. And as part of our growing belief system, because you really want to look at your belief system just like your soul growth. As you grow and learn, as your soul grows, so can your belief system. And you want that to be able to grow. So even if you are listening to someone with an open mind regarding how they believe things or their thoughts and feelings, there may be bits and pieces of what they're giving you that really resonate within yourself, that make sense to you. If that is true, allow yourself to really absorb that information, to really think about it, to really settle in and feel within yourself if that is true knowledge to add to your growth in your belief system, your growth in your soul.
Yes. And I think it's important to mention too that if something doesn't resonate with you, it's okay to not feel the same way as someone else. I think a lot of times we just agree with people or we go along with things as we're going through our soul growth because we don't want to feel like we are not being accepted or part of the crowd. The only thing with that is when we don't believe that our beliefs can change or we follow along with what someone else is believing, we put ourselves in a box that we box ourselves off from possibilities. And being rigid-minded or feeling as though that our own belief system is better than someone else's or makes more sense than someone else's, the moment we go into the ego and we start to think that way, that's another thing that can hinder our growth. But it could also send that out to the universe. You send a vibe out to the universe that my belief system, my boxed belief system is better than someone else's. You're cutting yourself off from everything, people, source, possibilities for growth. So it's important to mention that.
Absolutely. I can completely understand and see what you're saying, Sarah. And going back to adapting belief systems because we want to fit in, I think it's really important that we can get to the point in our soul growth where we are so sure of who we are that we're able to sit in a room with someone and just have an open discussion about anything. Because, if you think about it, anytime we're having any kind of discussion, our viewpoint is coming from our belief system. How we are feeling and believing about certain things is really going to navigate how we perceive any kind of situation or experience. So if you can get to a point in your life where you're comfortable with who you are and that it is not important to please people, to be a people pleaser, I think there is such an amazing opportunity to have a really wonderful discussion with someone. Because in that moment, you can hear what their belief system is. You can hear what their perception is of a situation. And whether you agree with it or not, you can still respect that person in listening to how they think and feel. And at that moment, you can either respectfully agree, respectfully disagree, respectfully agree with some of it. But it all comes back to the same thing that I keep mentioning. We really have to learn to live life in a way where when we're hearing things from others, we take the moment to allow it to resonate. How is it resonating in our body, in our soul? You have to allow it to go into your soul and really ask yourself, is this true for me? Or is this not something that feels right? Or is this not something that I feel will work with me as I go along on my journey in this lifetime? And, if you can stay out of your ego brain and keep an open mind and really listen to others, it just is going to give your world such an ability to see life differently, whether you believe in what people are saying or not, because you're going to be so true to yourself that you can take the bits and pieces that resonate and you can leave the bits and pieces that don't resonate behind. It's literally, from a visual standpoint, as if you're walking down this path in an amazing forest full of light. I can right now, if I were to visualize this, I can see beautiful trees and the sunlight is shining through the trees and you can see the rays of light going down into your path. And along the way on that path, you might see some really cool shaped pebbles that are maybe standing out and glistening to you. And you feel compelled to pick those up. And maybe you see some rocks that are in your path that are possibly trying to get in your way from moving forward. And you take those rocks and you pick those up and you move them to the side of the road. And you keep walking down the path and maybe you see this beautiful purple flower and you feel like that flower is part of your path. And you pick that up along the way, and then you've got a big boulder and you go, I don't need this boulder. I'm not rolling this boulder along with me. And you climb over it. And this really, it's part of how our belief system works. Literally, it's like walking down the path and you're taking away and moving the things out of your way that do not work and resonate for you. And you're picking up the bits and pieces that have meaning to your life and your soul growth.
Yes, that is one really cool way to describe that. Thank you. I want to take it even one step further. These boulders that you're seeing, these bumps in the road. If you think about it, what's one of the biggest reasons why we struggle with our belief systems or with other people's belief systems? It's because we have fears and insecurities. We have things that we're not sure about. Some things might resonate and some things don't. And a lot of times, because of insecurities we might feel, we then feel fear. Oh my goodness. What if I can't climb over this boulder? What if I can't see the other person's point of view? What if I so vehemently disagree that I can't come to a place of love and understanding? And my friends, that's part of the process here. Belief systems, there's not ever going to be a point in your life where you're going to be like, I got it. I've reached my quota of a belief system. It is ever evolving. It evolves from the lives that we've had prior. It evolves through this life. It will evolve through our next 100 lives. I think if you can imagine a road, I mean, our belief systems and our soul growth are running parallel. They're running parallel. So what I'm getting at here is if you're walking down the path that Molly was describing and you're seeing this boulder of fear or this boulder of insecurity and you climb over it, then you can notice all of the beauty around you. You can notice how amazing it is to be able to discuss things with people and be able to see how beautiful that they come to their conclusions about things or how they believe things. And you can start to not only just respect, but admire other people. And what that does is it brings you to a whole other level of understanding, and that is coming from a place of love. And we cannot come from a place of love when speaking about our own belief systems or understanding others' belief systems unless we drop out of our ego brain and into our heart. And we talked about living in the heart center in a previous podcast. So this is just another way to view that. Because if we are on a soul path of our own, then we are also here to support each other in each other's soul paths, even if we don't 100% have the same belief system. And I think our society is desperately trying to create a box, a belief system. And I feel like it's just time for us to break that mold. Because it isn't about constraints and rules and we have to be one way. That's what makes us beautiful, is that we are not all the same and we don't all believe the same.
Yes. And those boulders that you're finding along your way, it may be a person who is trying so hard to make you believe what they believe, that might be hanging on to you so tightly that they're willing to do anything to stand in your way because they want you to be in their belief box. And you will encounter people along your path. And it might be family, it might be friends, it might be a random stranger. And there's two ways that you can handle a situation like this. You can put yourself in their box and will most likely not be very happy. Or you can choose to have empathy and compassion for where that person is at in that moment and very gracefully walk over the boulder. Gracefully walking over the boulder does not necessarily mean that you're walking away from them. But it does mean that you have to accept them for where they're at and allow yourself to continue down your path. And you must do that in whatever way fits your soul growth. Because it's all about your soul growth. I cannot say this enough. The way we integrate our belief systems has everything to do with our soul growth and how much we choose to allow our soul to grow while we are in this life.
Yes, so beautifully said. Thank you. It's about making the decision for yourself. It's putting you first to decide what you believe and to decide to walk around those obstacles to get to a point where you're doing things for your highest good, for your authentic self, for the true you.
And the beauty in doing that is the people who are going to walk that path with you are going to walk that path with you. They're going to be there to support you. It's not a path you're walking by yourself. And I know we've said this a lot of times. There can be a fear of if I choose to walk a path for my highest good and for my highest belief system, that I will be alone. And that is just simply not true. We might be alone in the fact that the people we really want to follow us may not be able to. But we have to keep an open mind and we have to allow the door and the light be able to continue to shine so that people who have been waiting along the path can come on in and join us on the journey.
Right. Because you just never know who's going to be down the path a ways waiting for you when you go around that boulder. You just never know. And all sorts of new possibilities and success could be waiting on all you have to do is just choose.
Yeah. And remember, you're not in this alone. There are lots of things that you can be doing to allow yourself to have self-care, to get through the boulder, to walk over the boulder, to move the boulder out of the way. Meditations are a beautiful thing. Giving ourselves that time every day to meditate, to have self-care so that we can continue to allow our souls to grow and to resonate. You can definitely check out our meditation on our website on thebutterflyconnection.com. In fact, we have one on there that is absolutely free to download to help you in your path, your belief system, in your soul growth. And the beautiful thing about meditation is we can get so many amazing enlightenments during a meditation. Meditations are a beautiful way for us to allow our spirit and our soul to align in the way that is needed for us to continue to feel our beliefs and walk down our path.
Yes. And soul reflections, which are also on our website, are ways for you to go inward, to go into your heart, to reflect upon what it is that you would love to be doing next, or what it is you have to work on. And so our guided journaling is one of those soul reflections. And I feel like this belief system idea is a great thing to reflect upon. Maybe sit down and write, what are my belief systems? How do they serve me? Are my belief systems all resonating within me? Or are there belief systems that I have that maybe aren't resonating with me as much anymore? And maybe it's time to reevaluate. And that's what a soul reflection is. It's a reevaluation of the soul so that you can continue growing.
Yes. And our soul reflections are something that we offer for you for free. It is our gift to you to give you tools to continue to move on your path and to follow your soul growth and your belief systems as you continue to grow on your journey. Thank you so much for listening to us this week. And we hope that you pop onto our Facebook group page so we can have a discussion about belief systems. That's the Butterfly Connection, KINECTION, on the Facebook group. You can hashtag the Butterfly Connection and find all kinds of lovely affirmations and our website and other podcasts that we have available to you as well. And if you are on our site and really love something that we have said that resonates with you on your path of belief systems, feel free to hashtag the Butterfly Connection so others can find it as well.
Yes, we hope you have a fantastic week of reflecting and growing.
Thank you for listening to The Butterfly Connection with Molly Rahe-Randall and Sara Courtney.
Check out our website at thebutterflyconnection.com and download our free weekly guided journaling exercises.
We would love to hear from you. Subscribe to our podcast and give us a review. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest.
And join us next week for another soul-connecting conversation.